If you've never worked with vectors, you're in for a treat. Let's find out how to harness the power of shapes and paths.
Photoshop's shape tools offer a powerful way to create vector graphics. What's that? You've never heard of a vector? Well, you're in for a treat. Let's back up a step. So far, we've been working with raster images, images made up of fixed-sized pixels. Vector elements are made up of line and or curve segments and have some unique differences. Vectors have sharp, crisp edges, take up much less storage space than pixel-based objects, and most importantly, vectors are resolution independent. They look great at any size. Let's open up a file. Inside our Chapter 8 folder, select the file titled Stars. I'm going to zoom in here to a 100% view, Command 1 on the Mac, Control 1 on the PC. Here we've got two identical looking stars. However, one is a vector shape, the other a raster shape. And let's take a look and see what happens when we make this image much larger. We're going to go up to Image, Image Size, and instead of a width and height of 720 pixels, I'm going to double that to 1440. We are now upsampling our image. I'll hit OK. And let's see what we've got. This star on the left looks pretty good, but oh my goodness gracious me. That star on the right is a raster shape. It does not hold up well in large upsampling moves. While you can see that on the left, we've got a great, nice, crisp looking vector shape. So that's one great advantage of vectors, is that you can create them at any size and you can enlarge them or reduce them with absolutely no quality loss. Now the first type of vectors we're going to talk about are shapes. And the easiest way to create a shape is using one of these shape tools. I'm going to zoom back out here. Actually, let's turn this layer off. It'll give us much more room to work with. We'll turn both of these off. The Shape tool is located in the Tools panel just below the Type tool. If we click and hold on the tool, we see we've got a number of options, but if we look up in the options bar, we have those same shape options and a few more that I want to talk about for a moment. Here at the top, we've got our shape layer. This will create a shape layer when we draw. To the right of that, we have a Path tool. We're going to talk much more about paths in the next lesson. Here we have a Fill Pixels icon that will let us create a pixel-based or raster shape. We've got our two Pen tool options. Again, Pen tool coming up in Lesson 2. Here we've got our choice of shapes. We've got a rectangle, a rounded rectangle, an ellipse, a polygon, a line, and this amoeba-looking creature is our custom shape. Whichever shape we choose here, we have some very important options. I'll click here on this pull-down menu. We can choose to work in an unconstrained fashion. This means we can drag any dimensions that we like. We can limit ourselves to a square. We could type in a fixed size. If we know the exact dimensions that we need to be working with, we can type that in and simply click to draw the shape. We can restrict ourselves to a certain proportion or ratio. There's a From Center checkbox that will enable us to draw the shape directly from the center. That can be very helpful. And for all you web designers out there, this Snap to Pixels button should be checked. This will give you much cleaner graphics for the web. Now, which shape should we draw with first? Let's choose the polygon because that gives us another cool option. Here we can see that we can choose the number of sides that our polygon is going to have. Let's start with the default of 5. I'm going to simply click in the image area, drag with the mouse. Here is a big 5-sided polygon. As soon as you draw with the Shape tool, your shape is filled with a color. By default, that is the foreground color. But if you have a specific color in mind, in the options bar we have a color picker. We'll just click on it, and let's choose maybe something in this blue range. Looks pretty good. Let's try an 8-sided polygon. Let's see what that looks like. I'll set this to 8 and draw a new polygon. There we go, 8-sided. And I'll actually select a different color for this one. Let's go back down towards the oranges. That looks pretty good. Notice in our layers panel we have added two completely new layers, specifically two shape layers. Raster objects and vector objects cannot exist on the same layer. So if you start with a raster object and you add a vector object, you will automatically have a completely new layer. But we can have multiple vector objects on a single layer. Right now we've been working in the new layer mode that's up here in the options bar. That's telling Photoshop to create a brand new layer every time we create a shape. Let's move to the add mode. This will allow us to add vector shapes to a single layer. So now with the add mode selected, I'm going to choose the ellipse tool and I'm going to draw an oval. Now we have, if you look in the layers panel, two shapes in our shape 2 layer. I can add a third here. Let's go with the rounded rectangle and I'll draw that down here. So we've got a total of 4 vector shapes but only 2 layers. The last shape tool I want to talk about is the custom shape tool, and that's a lot of fun because this is going to give us access to dozens and dozens of pre-built shapes. If I select the custom shape tool here, next to it we have our shape options. I'll click here on this pull down menu. Here we've got a nice little listing of some shapes, but this flyout arrow on the right gives us access to a huge library of shapes. I'm going to go down here and select symbols, for example. Photoshop is asking us if we want to replace the current collection. We'll hit OK. And now look at all these that we've got down here. Let's choose the nuclear symbol. That's always a good party starter. We'll select that. And now, on our same shape layer, because we are in the add mode, I'm going to draw this nuclear symbol. There we go. How easy was that? Let's leave this image open because we're going to start here in the very next lesson and we're going to learn all about paths.